Since the first moment I can remember, I had a very unrealistic idea of what psychology is. I thought it was applied only for crazy people, for people who are mentally ill. In my case, some years had to pass for me to get rid of the idea. But I eventually realized the importance of psychology in my life. And this is because on April 17th of 2021, I was officially diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. After that moment, I got to learn more about myself, as well as I got to work on my social and communication skills. But before I continue with this, let me take you back in time to show you how I got to this moment. I entered kindergarten in a school in Rosarito, in which I stayed up until my 9th grade. It was a relatively small school, and the fact that it was small could help me in some way. According to my parents, at the beginning, I didn't seem to have any problems socializing. And I believe it stayed that way until I was approaching my middle school. I say this because I believe, because I don't have many memories of that time, my elementary and kindergarten, or at least many important ones. But I do remember more of my 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And according to my memories, in my middle school, I had these moments where I wanted to talk to someone, but I couldn't, or didn't know how. And well, at the time, I didn't pay much attention to that. I simply thought that I was just a normal kid with an introverted personality. And I thought it was normal for me to have difficulties with communicating with someone else. So the idea of me needing to go for help with my social skills never passed through my mind. And I stayed with this thought when I entered high school. And so for my 10th grade, I entered this school in Tijuana. It is quite a different school from the one I was before, mainly because it is quite a big school. And I entered this school without knowing anyone but my sister. So my parents, as good parents that they are, they wanted me to make friends, to meet new people. And it wasn't for me so easy to start a conversation, but I still wanted to give it a try. In my first week of my first semester, I started analyzing my classmates, seeing who could be a good friend, who could be easy to talk to, and who I would want to be my friend. As I got my candidate, I started to approach him during lunchtime, but stayed at some distance. And then I started thinking, should I go talk to him? Or should I not? And if I go talk to him, what should I say? After some time of this, I ended up doing nothing. So each day after school, I needed to tell my parents that I made no friends. Well, this became a loop where I wanted to talk to someone, but started thinking and then doing nothing. And so I had to tell my parents that I made no friends. And because my parents kept pressuring me in this, well, I remember that I sometimes told them that I would make friends on my own. I just needed time. Luckily, after some time, my parents understood that it wasn't easy for me to make friends. They decided to ask me if I would want to go to a psychologist. I said yes, but remained with the thought that I didn't need help to make friends, that I could make friends on my own eventually. So near the end of 2019, I went on my first session with my first psychologist. And I remember that in this session, I answered some questions of some tests. And when the psychologist got the results, he told me that I had certain characteristics of Asperger's syndrome. At that moment, I had no idea of how to react. I didn't know what Asperger's is. But as he told me a bit about it, and as I searched of Asperger's when on my way home, I got to realize the reason why I wasn't able to communicate with others so easily. And I ended up going on a couple more sessions with that psychologist until my parents decided that it was better for me to go with another psychologist. And it was also near the end of 2019 when I made my first friends in the school. I actually can remember it as if it had happened yesterday. We are celebrating the birthday of one of our teachers. My whole class and I were going to the school's garden, and there was some cake, some pizza, and I believe some orange juice. And well, we all lined up to grab our own slice and cup of juice. And when I grabbed my slice, I remember turning around and seeing how apparently all my classmates were divided into three groups. There was this group where only girls, where there were only girls. There was this other group where there were only boys, and a third group which was small but a bit mixed. And I decided to sit where no one else was. I took my slice, my cup of juice, and I walked where a place where no one else was, to sit myself there alone. And after some time of being alone, this girl approached me. And she invited me to come join her and her friends. I accepted out of courtesy, of course, because I didn't want it to appear to be rude or anything. And so I stood up and followed her to the table. It happened to be the table where only girls were seated, so I felt kind of weird. But, well, I sit quiet most of the time there, only answered some questions when they asked me, but did nothing more. Well, at that time, I didn't knew it, but it was the start of a friendship. And, well, this is because some days later, I started joining that same girl and her friends in lunch. And I also stayed once after school to study. And well, then the pandemic struck. Near the end of my second semester, it became all online, all digital. And the only way I could make any friends was contacting them through social media. But I'm not the kind of person that uses social media. So my communication with other people outside of my family was very limited. Luckily, on February 5th of 2021, I went on my first session with my current psychologist. He is a specialist in Asperger's syndrome and autism. And well, I considered him to be the one who officially diagnosed me with my Asperger's, since he is a specialist in that. And well, I have worked with him for over a year now and made some great advances. But I still have some more work to be done. And well, the work I have done with my psychologist has helped me in several ways. I have worked on my fluency of ideas. I have worked on how to start a conversation, as well as I have worked on how to continue with a conversation, among other things. And this is how psychology has helped me. Now tell me, how can psychology help you? Thank you.